What's up, Nova Heads? It's Amber Nova.
This is Chris Lights Out Lytle.
Hi, this is Ray Boom Boom Mancini. Ice Boogie.
It's the real and raw August Artois.
This is Smiling Sam Alvey.
It's Archimedes.
I'm Jack Cartwheel, the real deal, the human highlight reel.
This is Steve Mowry.
I'm Victor Henry.
Boy, Bulletproof Troop.
Billy Clark.
It's ECW Original, The Enforcer, C.W. Anderson.
This is Honest John.
Hyper Street. Luis Moreno. And it's Mr. Classic. Centinos.
I'm Jason Punet.
The young ghost.
It's old Hattie Price here.
When I say what's my name, Snipes.
Richie Slade.
My name is Gino Rivera, the Frank Sinatra of the Spanish Mafia.
The incredible one, Anthony Idol.
This is Ken Shamrock.
The Golden Boy, Jordan Clearwater.
Yo, watch and listen.
Championship Online.
This is Alex Mars here. Hi, Richard Modest.
So, please listen to it, otherwise be cursed. Okay, see you later, love that dinners.
What are you waiting for? It's Friday, January 28th, 2022. A new year and new fear is what I look to bring to my opponents. At the New Solution Pro Wrestling event, My Bloody Valentine, February 12th at the De La O Training Center in Stanton, California, Hellman Rosecrown puts down RJ Sick Boy Santos with a lethal dose. And I'll take out Tiger Kid while I'm at it. So don't you and the rest of you miscreants and deviants miss this episode. Only available on Apple, YouTube, and every streaming service of relevancy. Championship on the line. The imminent threat is coming, and there's nothing off limits.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You're now watching and listening to Championship on the Line podcast. I'm joined with my co-host Rich, and I'm Alex. And today is a very, very special episode because Rich and I got to see this gentleman wrestle not once but twice. We got to see him wrestle a couple times, and he's always killed it every single time we have seen him. But not only that, in this coming month, on February 12th, he will be live in action for New Solution Pro Wrestling as he takes on not one but two opponents, Tiger Kid and RJ Santos. And that's going to be Saturday, February 12th at the De La O Jiu-Jitsu Training Center in Stanton, California for New Solution Pro Wrestling as we present My Bloody Valentine. Ladies and gentlemen, we got Hellman Rosecrown, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being on the pod.
Hey, I'm here, and I'm here to do multiple things, which is to talk about myself, one of my favorite topics, and of course, that match you mentioned coming up February 12th at New Solution Pro Wrestling, which is a very near and dear matchup to my heart, seeing as RJ Santos had a hand in training me early on, and I haven't seen him in a while due to circumstance, whether it be the pandemic and whatnot, but our paths will cross finally, so I'm excited.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And this is your debut too. So you're making debut in New Solution Pro Wrestling. And, again, Tiger Kid wrestled the last event. Have you been studying tapes on both of these guys, getting ready for this match?
So I've seen a lot of RJ's stuff, his training stuff, and I've been trying to refresh. I haven't seen anything recent. I think he's been taking a very laid back approach, or maybe keeping his cards close to his chest. Tiger Kid, on the other hand, I've heard things. I've actually done a lot more background on him. I want to know who is the guy beneath the mask. Less what he performs in the ring. I should definitely hit YouTube, and I've tried to, maybe it's not active on Instagram. I seem to be on Instagram a lot more than my contemporaries. So I try to look at clips, but I'm going to have to check out a few of his matches because I don't want to go in unprepared. You're right.
And how do you see yourself? What's the game plan going into this match?
Well, I like to play the field and be that variable, that option C, if you will. I obviously have the least experience going to most of my matches. This is my debut, of course, at this promotion, but this whole year has been my debut year. So there's a lot of unexpected, like they don't know what to expect out of me, so I don't give them too much. I try to see what, if they're high flying, I keep it grounded. If they want to be more technical, I like to bend and break the rules where I can. I just want to get in where I fit in. I like to consider myself the disruptor.
Mm-hmm. And also, what's the prediction? How do you see yourself winning this match?
Well, obviously I see myself winning, and if I didn't, I shouldn't even participate or show up. I see myself winning when everyone least expects it. Maybe I'll already be down in the corner and you'll count me out at one point or another, but that's the last thing you want to do, is turn your back on the imminent threat, because it's coming and it's inevitable. So you can count your chickens before they hatch, egg or chicken. Why did the chicken cross the road? It doesn't matter, because the chicken's going to get its neck broken and boiled in a pot when that day is done.
Oof, confident words, man. I love it. I love it. And then if you do win this match, obviously there's a lot of good names in this lineup. If you do win this, is there someone in your list that you would like to wrestle next?
There is a gentleman I faced before, and I want to go at him again, but this seems to be his home turf. So there is something to be said for home field advantage. And last time we faced off, I walked away with a victory, but it was in Ocean Beach, San Diego. Now we're in Orange County. I want to take on Inferno, the big, strong powerhouse that he is. I like to chop him down to size every once in a while.
Mm-hmm. There you go. We might get to see that. Inferno has a big match against Jimmy Mayhem, and then you in a triple threat. If both of you guys are victorious, that's a match I would like to see.
That's a very good if he wins, because if not, I don't want a loser. I'm trying to move up the rankings. So
Awesome. Again, ladies and gentlemen, tickets are now on sale for New Solution Pro Wrestling. Presents My Bloody Valentine. Again, February 12th, New Solution Pro Wrestling at Stanton, California. Again, Hellman Rosecrown will be in a triple threat match between Tiger Kid, Hellman Rosecrown, and RJ Santos. It's a venue you're not going to want to miss. So again, it's going to be very fun and very exciting.
I'll put it to you this way. A lot of people expect fireworks. Maybe not big, hard-hitting heavyweights, but they're going to expect a fast-paced offense, which I have no problem with. But I do like to give them something that they don't want. I don't want to give all of the goodies away. This isn't Halloween. It is not trick or treat. So I'm going to try and slow those high flyers down and ground them as best that I can. And that's as far as I'm going to go into my strategy.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Very smart. Yeah, I love it, man. I'm excited for this match. I mean, again, we've seen you wrestle a couple times. We've seen you wrestle, I believe, at the West Coast Wrestling Company show in Hemet. We got to see you face Haas Hog, and I believe you wrestled Snipes too as well, which were really awesome matches. What were your thoughts on working with these two matches?
The consistent in both of those is that I came up on the short end, if you will, but they're both big names and big people in this business. So I don't walk away with my head hanging low. I do walk away with my head held high. I am a little upset. I had a conflict with dates and I wasn't able to make that last event, but I was scheduled for a triple threat #1 contendership for a wild card championship. And it ended up becoming a championship match. So I do feel this match as my retribution, my redemption, to prove that I am championship level caliber material.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And especially with those two matches, you've grown so much and you proved so much. I mean, your matches recently, I'm very excited. That's what I'm saying for this match coming up with Truth. I'm excited to see because, like I said, you proved so much. And, I can't wait to see an action between these two guys. I think it's going to be very, very exciting. So I can't wait. I know Richard can't wait for that match, right, Rich?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, like you were saying earlier, Alex was saying you've grown so much from those fight matches to now. We keep up with your Instagram and everything, and you're getting better in a rapid pace, which is scary for them to face in the ring because, like you said, they don't know what they're going to expect from you. But I wanted to ask you something. Stanton, now you're making your debut. Is this your first time in Stanton, California?
Yeah, and not to get too political, but there were certain booking opportunities I've had at this exact venue, which I've pick and chose to avoid for one reason or another. And there's really no reason whatsoever. There's so many different promotions that run out of there that are reputable and that put on good shows, that have great talent. Maybe I got caught up in a little bit of this hearsay game that I, trying to avoid landmines that I wasn't aware of. But I am the War Devil. I'm not afraid of explosions, and I'll walk through the landmine with my eyes closed and a blindfold on. And that's what I'm doing when I walk into the De La O Training Center. I'm going to prove that there's nowhere you can run from the imminent threat, because it's just not happening without me on the front and center. So that's why I decided I'm not going to live my life based on gossip, and I'm going to make a name for myself.
Mm-hmm. There you go. I know New Solution Pro Wrestling owners listen to this. I know he's very excited for this. So, I'm very, very excited for this match. Again, triple threat. It's gonna be awesome. But also, want to talk about, also you're making big waves, also wrestling for Fist Combat, also.
And that's another boat I'm in. People throw shade where the sun goes, because the sun is shining bright in Ocean Beach every Saturday.
Yep, absolutely. And you're making big waves over there and having such great matches. But how did it all get started for you actually wrestling for Fist Combat? How did that all happen for you?
So wrestling has always been like in my blood, so to speak, because I've just loved it at such a young age, where I haven't really had a reason to, I can't pinpoint what it was, that I don't have the moment that I loved wrestling. It's always been who I was. But it took me a long time to finally start training. And when I did, I looked into training. I was going to do it at Knoxboro because I knew somebody, a coworker who was a wrestler from Knoxboro. But at the time I looked into it, Santino Bros was the choice. And I'm glad they have been the choice that I went with. And I'm sticking with them. They're a really great place to start training, but based in LA and the pandemic timing, they had to shut down. And therefore I was sitting on the couch in limbo. One of the things they did is they had an online course, and that course told you just keep going, keep the dream alive, get gear ready, put promos, just keep it active. And that activity online got attention from various podcasters and a promotion or two. And I know for a fact it was Fist Combat that reached out to me, and they were actively running. And he said, come by and train just to keep my skills going, keep the gears greased. And when I showed up, he says, you're ready to go. And that Saturday and then on, I've been working in front of a live crowd and just picking up bookings. My thing is never say no, but once you say yes, you better show up and you better show out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And, and also saying that doing the training, for Centinos, what was also like typical, like training? Like what did he make you do training at Centinos? Like what was like the schedule?
Well, it's changed since I've returned as a debuted superstar, since there was a time gap they had to make up for certain people at different various stages of training. Now it's more, I feel, you learn real world style. Show us what you know, work a match, work the crowd. Whereas previously at the stage I was at in the beginning, fundamental stages, it was all fundamentals and drilling and foot placement and footwork, which to me, and cardio, of course, cardio. They're going to make sure you can hang. So that was one of the things I really cherished about my early fundamental training, is they made sure you knew what you were doing, why you were doing it, and how to do it at a step-by-step way. So I just watched the instructors very astutely, tried to mimic and copy as much as possible. And that comes from my amateur wrestling background as well. Okay. And the videos, like, who was it? Joey Munoz doing the videos? So Chaos has taken a leadership role. He's always been the leader, but lately he's been hands-on, where previously when I started, it was in my class, Robbie Phoenix was the head trainer. So yeah, he was there day in, day out. And Joey was there definitely almost every other day, but Robbie was leading my class. Mm-hmm. We had a lot of other instructors. I know Donnie Suarez, Eli Everfly. There was lots of their alumni would come in. Even El Primo Genio had a big hand in my training. So that's the same thing I mentioned about RJ Santos. he was another guy who taught me and was there day in, day out. So he gave me lots of time and knowledge that it's been a while since I've seen him. So as you said, I've grown and I want to see where we match up at this point. It's our first time squaring off one-on-one, or even making a trio, making a three-way dance, whatever you will. But we're going to be standing across the ring from each other for the first time.
Mm-hmm. And also, you know, going under training with these guys, was there any advice about like the business that they gave you that you still keep with you today?
Yeah, I mean, I got lots of advice, but a lot of the advice I got from these guys early on was about technique. And my stint at Fist Combat really accelerated my training, because I went from not training to resume training and working immediately. So I've gotten a lot of experience in front of crowds that I otherwise wouldn't have necessarily have had at that point. So I'm about 60 or so matches in already. I haven't quite done the full tally, but I could say that would be at least half or more or less if I had just gone the full year or whatever it would have taken staying at Santino's. So a lot of the advice I got from them was more about training. And lately, you know, you learn on the fly. They'll tell you as you go. You learn in the ring. They'll tell you stuff as you go, basically. You know, it's like you got to listen to just how everything reacts. So you never know, you know, how it works until you do it. You just got to do it. Yeah. That's where I'm at.
Mm-hmm. And even during time, even training, was there any specific video that you'd watch on a specific wrestler to kind of get inspiration, like for your ring style, or even like guys, even alumni that you would watch?
Oh, definitely. Well, at the time it was Douglas James. I was trying to watch his style. It's guys like Lucas Riley, Dom Kubrick, now even Matt Vandegrift, you know, like I pretty much looked at all the alumni. I will say Eli Everfly, I watched the way he did drop downs. I watched the way he did leapfrogs. He even taught me how to do my first bump correctly, because he put some mental imagery in my mind. I don't think it's family friendly. I can't really say it on the airwaves. But he told me to thrust my hips, and it worked. And so I do credit these guys for little small things here and there, to points where I don't even remember it, because it becomes so ingrained in my wrestling DNA at this point. So I've always been told by Centinos, dude, everything you do needs to be with purpose. So if you're attacking the ropes, you know, you're not just running lazily into it or backwards. You're running into it with force and with purpose. So even a lockup is a move. You know, you're fighting for control.
Mm-hmm. And how long did you train before you had your first match? Like, how long did you train for before that?
So at Santino's, it was like, I think I was like 6 months in, and then the pandemic hit. And then I believe I resumed training for about a month or so when I was working at Fist, you know, like instantly. So that's like a 7-month training. But then I feel like training is never done. And I honestly need to I was back and forth at Fist and Santino's for a good while, but we're talking, like I might have mentioned before we started recording, gas prices and stuff. Cost of living is just tough. So it's hard for me, because I've been back and forth between LA and San Diego for a minute. So, but my home school is definitely Santino's. And it's just, I get a lot of booking opportunities, as you might have mentioned. Now Orange County, San Diego County, yeah. So I'm trying to make my way out of town, out of state, like a lot of my contemporaries. I don't know if you're familiar with Anti-Savior, my group I got going on with Richie Coy and Kid Bandit. But Kid Bandit's been pretty much every state on the map. So, I mean, that's a goal to hold for 2022 for sure.
Mm-hmm. And also, you know, with training at Centinos, what makes, because there's a lot of wrestling schools out here in California, but what makes Centinos different from any other school out there?
Well, I personally couldn't know, you know, unless I tried all flavors of ice cream. But I did go to Santino's, and from what I've seen, it's just a certain mentality. They have a lot of slogans, and they all mean something. But in reality, I feel like it all just is a very tough mentality of it. You don't get into wrestling to quit. You get into wrestling to live the dream. You get into wrestling, the ass kickers kick ass, and they have to get their ass kicked too. So, I mean, Santino's just gives it to you straight, I feel. And they want the best out of you, and they expect nothing less.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And especially when you look at there's so many list of names that came out from Centinos are doing big things, guys like, like you said, Eli Everfly came from there. Even guys like Jake Atlas came from there. A lot of Gino Rivera came from there. A lot of big names. So,
by the way, Gino is I need to face him in the ring, but I think he's probably the most exemplary talent on the independent scene that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
On both sides of the camera. Just what he does is what we should all strive to do.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I know Rich and I definitely agree with that. But like I said, with the list of names, too, guys, even like Slice Boogie came from there. Is there a list in that alumni list that you would like to have a match with?
Yeah, there's a list. And honestly, as I look into it, I've already checked off a few of those names, but I still don't feel fulfilled. Haas Hog, and I faced him twice this year. Slice Boogie, I was in a singles and a tag match against him as well. Ray Rosas, I believe I faced him in a tag, a trios, and a singles. So like that was something I did not see coming. I just capped the year off facing Matt Vandergriff, and also DKC. It was always my first ever training match was against DKC, and he went off to do things, as you know, in New Japan, and so I never thought I'd get the chance to work with him really, at least this early on. And I've already had a few matches with him as well, like in tag situations. So yes, they're all on the list. I will put Alonzo Alvarez on that list because he's such a mat-based wrestler. And I really like the way he moves in the ring. Very calculated. So he's on my list for sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, those are matches I would definitely like to see in the future. I know that, like I said, Alonzo we actually got to see him wrestle in Hollywood, Chins from Hollywood, and I think both of you guys would have stylistically would be an awesome match. But like I said, like even working with those guys, like always like to notice, but like when you work with someone that went to the same wrestling school as you, does it make it easier to work with because you guys came from like the same background, or is it a little bit different?
If we're talking about bookings at shows, just like a lucha show, or if I pick up a booking and I see that other talents from Santinos are on that card, or as we mentioned, February 12th, I'll be in a triple threat, and I know RJ Santos. I know him like that. So I am very comfortable getting in that ring because I feel like stylistically we will match up, and even still, I'll know what to expect. So I might have an opportunity to see it coming because I know him perhaps better than he knows me. He's taught me, but what has he seen? What has he learned from me? Unless he's spending time reviewing my tape, which I'd be honored, if you will. So I do totally feel that way. I've worked a lot of various shows throughout the year, and whenever there's a Santino's talent in the match or on the card, it is a comforting feeling because I do know I can work with them.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and also want to take me back, but what was it like for your debut match? Like, what was it like coming out for the first time? What was that feeling like?
It was intense. A lifelong dream happening. It was unexpected because the crowd's supposed to perceive you in one way or another, and I didn't even know how I perceived myself when I stepped out. I was so energetic and aggressive. I realized, hey, these people don't know who I am. Maybe I want to endear myself to them. So I went from being really angry to all of a sudden I started smiling and waving my hand. It was like a total 180, like a personality switch. And I came out with a jacket, and I had it slipped over these MMA gloves that I wore for like one match until Eli told me never do that again. And there's photos out there, but
was it the blue ones with like the scale?
There's blue ones, but I had red. I still have red, white, yellow. I thought I was gonna use them all at one point, but so I put the cuffs of a jacket over them just enough that I could pull the jacket off in my entrance. However, I thought, they're filming it. Maybe I need to pull it down a 1/4 inch. I don't know why. So I did that. Now the jacket's locked into place. So when I try to take it off, it's not coming off. So my debut match, it's at my entrance. I'm fighting with my jacket, like Randy Orton in the table. It's now become my rival. And the jacket won't come off. And once I finally got it off, like I had a shirt, everything. It was a crazy scenario. I didn't know really what was going on until it happened. And I just went with the flow. So many of those moves I had never necessarily done in training, which they say you don't want to do that. But I just really trusted the situation, and a bump is a bump. And it was very fluid, at least the bumps. But there was a lot. When we watched back, the match was about 15 minutes. It was my first match. But a lot of that was just my opponent jaw-jacking in the beginning. And it was a good match. It was honestly still one of my better matches. And I'm appreciative to this day. It's the only match I've had with Vano, the Nuclear Warrior. It's the only match we've had. So.
And did you have like any like coaches or anyone from Centinos that watched the match and gave you like notes?
Surprisingly, I do think Eli might have seen it, because he told me, don't wear. He was probably editing the footage. He said, don't wear those gloves ever again. So, he gave me some pointers. I'm sure he's given me some pointers at various times too. So it's like whenever he says something, I try to perk my ear because he's got a point most of the time. Or why waste his effort?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and then also talking about working for Fist Combat and just watching the shows and everything they put in, it just seems, because I've never been to a show, but every time I watch it on YouTube, it just seems so exciting, and the atmosphere and the vibe out there.
You don't even know that. Oh my god! Because I wasn't like one to hype it up, but like I slowly started realizing sometimes there's more drama in the fans than there are in the ring. Like the fans are so lively and it's just incredible. And so I gotta give props to the fans, because in any promotion or regard, it's the fans that breathe the life into it and keep it flowing. So it's like the circulatory system, where they're the heart, and they truly are the heart of Fist Combat and Ocean Beach is the fans. And they're not always regulars. Most of the time they're just people who are there in the street that day, but they leave fans. That's what's important.
Yeah. Absolutely. And also, what is it like also working for Dirty Ron McDonald? Like, what's it like working with him in Fist Combat?
I would say it's intense, because he's much like his character. He's ready to go at all times. So he is truly a promoter in every sense of the way, because he does share with the knowledge on going out and passing out flyers on how to set up the show, how to run the show. He's not stingy when it comes to sharing the knowledge. And so I do appreciate all the opportunities. He basically jump-started my career, and thus far has provided me such a steady platform. I could theoretically not take other bookings and have a booking every Saturday, but he's also been understanding, knowing that I'm trying to get my name out there, and that, I'm an independent contractor, and I'm here to get the job done wherever it needs to be done. And I'm going to travel, but I do consider Fist somewhat my home promotion, but also I'm torn because Santinos is now running on a monthly basis as well. So we got the weekly and monthly. I'm just trying to do what's right for me. And that's at the same time, that's stand by those who have been there for me. So that's all these people we've mentioned.
Mm-hmm. And also, like we were talking about, like I said, I watched their social media from Fist Combat and everything you post, but also, Rich and I have seen your social media and your Instagrams and everything you post, from the pictures and everything. It's, it's really cool and awesome to see. What's your opinion on, especially with now, because Rich and I have been fans since, Ruthless Aggression days, and social media was not really a big thing, and now it is, and everything going with social media. What are your thoughts on that and posts, and how do you manage to work with Instagram and Twitter?
Social media is a drug, and I will tell you that. Sometimes it's a supplement for happiness or actual events. And that's where I was stuck in this rut, especially during the pandemic, living through the digital world, but not actually going out and touching it, which I feel like technology can be a crutch. And when you're referring to the wrestling world, it's interesting because it bridges the gap from once a television program ends to these characters and these people have actual lives. And sometimes I do feel like there should be a fourth wall. Not everyone should be Deadpool and can see through the other side of the screen. because I do feel like access is sometimes a double-sided blade. So, but it's just one of those things you got to monitor and manage. So for me, it made me kind of manic. And that's where my character was born, from the fact that technology can be your best friend and it could be your biggest enemy, because they're always listening, and there's dark web, and there's predators out there. So you can't just talk to anyone you see on the internet, because not everyone has the best intentions. So I will say the internet is just something that's not going anywhere. And if you're going to be in wrestling, it's modern. It's got to evolve. I'm still salty. If you want to talk about the Attitude Era, I grew up, or you said ruthless aggression. I grew up in an Attitude Era. I'm still mad about WWE.com spoiling Kurt Angle's World Heavyweight Championship Battle Royal win in 2006, because I'm on the West Coast and they posted it on the East Coast times. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like technology has screwed me over so many times. Like, don't tell me any spoilers from the new Spider-Man movie, because it's like, sometimes you gotta mute people. It's like, so technology is not going anywhere. You just gotta live with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And and earlier, we were talking about before this, we were talking about with the figures. What figures did you collect, and what figures do you have?
Well, okay, so I only do have 2 figures, because I told you I just bought 2 figures just for the intent of practicing moves, concepts, while I'm just sitting around and not even have access to a ring or a partner or whatnot. And I haven't really done that, but it was Rhea Ripley and Angel Garza, if I'm not mistaken. So those are the 2 figures I have. And they're obviously WWE Elite figures. I had so many WWF, WWE figures, Ruthless Aggression, up into Mattel. I've revamped my... You see, I wasn't a collector. I didn't put them in boxes on the wall. I'm telling, I took those out. I used all the accessories. I put the weapons under the ring. I broke stuff. I take pictures. I'd film. I'd write storylines. I put logos. I'd make up my own pay-per-view concepts. So figures were a huge part of my life for a long time. But as we mentioned, they're rising in prices. And I was swapping heads and hands and gear before they were. So I feel like there's a bug somewhere, because Vince McMahon would copy my storylines, and that's no joke.
And with the figures and everything, do you have like even growing up as being a fan, like, do you have a favorite figure that you remember playing with?
I just have great memories growing up. As I said, it was literally my whole life was, you tell me what year it was, I'll tell you who was the world champion in WWE, as the WWE mark. And they had so many figures. I had their lineage and their title histories written down and everything. So yeah, I'm the one that comes to mind, the 2 at least, is when I got Kurt Angle and he had like the fabric singlet and he still had hair, flat top. The red boots. I remember getting him and it's like playing match after match after match with his figure. I also remember one Christmas, I went to a store and my mom was like, nah, we don't have the money. And she didn't buy us, but I wanted 2 cool. I wanted all 3 of them. And then I remember I was in the car and I dropped something later on. I was on my way to school or something. I bent over in the seat, and under the seat, like not wrapped, was all 3 of the 2 cool figures. And I knew it was going to be for Christmas. So I sat up and I tried not to know it was ruined. So I don't know. I can talk about figures for days, but that's not what the imminent threat is about.
Of course, but Rich and I, we could talk about it. All day.
His background, my background, relate.
We'll have a whole separate podcast for all that. That's what I know I've made it. Not that I made it, because there's always another goal. I mean, I want a figure. That's like one of the life goals. Who doesn't want a figure, of themselves?
And even talking about now, what is the goal for you? Like, what promotion you want to sign with? Like, what is the goal for Hellman Rosecrown in the future?
It was always the WWE. Times have changed a little. While I actually have not kept current with the AEW product, it truly feels like that is where you evolve to if you move up the rankings, up the cards. It feels like that's the next stage for pro wrestling. Yeah. So I don't know if it's what they're doing with WWE as far as their hiring and firing processes or what they see for themselves. I definitely still see them as the major league. MLB, NFL type of deal, WWE. But AEW is right there. I mean, that's where I kind of feel the desire to go. Like, if you want to getting signed, in a sense, it's all about getting paid and getting to like afford to live. But there's a part of you, if you look at it from the sporting aspect of, you get signed and it proves where you belong. You belong in what tier, where are you at? I mean, hey, most MMA fighters, all of them, they'll take me down and out. But, UFC, Bellator, mentally speaking, we seem to have like, a tier to it, if you will. So, I mean, I was always the guy who thought WCW was below WWE or WWF. But what do I know? So I guess that's an opinion thing. Marvel, DC, we all know who wins. But that'd be another concept, Marvel versus DC. I could talk about that for a while too.
Oh yeah, and it's like what you said too, because now like it just seems like AEW gives more opportunities for the like independent wrestlers, as we're seeing with WWE more signing more sport athletes, but now with AEW kind of giving more opportunity to independent, which is it's a good thing.
I totally get it, but WWE seemingly had turned a page, with AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan. Like, it seemed like NXT was going strong. It does seem like they're changing, right?
Yeah.
That's what
which is it's kind of sad to see, but hey, it's part of it, and with everything, even independent wrestling now is booming and it's climbing up, and I think, in my opinion, Rich probably it's the highest it's ever been in a very, very long time.
It does feel that way, I would say, but you can't discredit the pioneers who paved the way, especially when it wasn't just popularized. They traveled town to town. So let's look back and, even when guys like Daniel Bryan or Roderick Strong are cutting their teeth, it was a lot more akin to territory days than it is now, if you will. Mm-hmm. So, like, it's, man, I imagine walking a mile in their shoes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even now, because like when we were kids, I mean, Rich and I was kids, like especially in California, like there was only not that many independent promotions. I mean, there was like AWS, there's EWF, and then PWG, and PWG was like the big one, and it still is big to this day, and it's incredible.
Of course.
Everything, and is still putting on big events, and he sell out like in 10 minutes, which is awesome to see. Those promotions growing and still being big.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that was the one I was aware of. I had a friend who actually, my childhood friend, we were tag team partners growing up. He was my best friend. We would see all the pay-per-views. He would take me to shows and stuff because I couldn't afford that stuff. He actually saw my debut match, talking about that. He actually lived in town and just randomly happened to show up. So it was super awesome. Man, I don't remember why I brought him up. My bad. I'm going down memory lane.
That's fine. But also, I have to ask, where did you come up with the name Hellman Rosecrown? How did that come about?
Wasn't I born that way? Well, the name itself was a lot of influences. At one point, I wanted to design myself like Hellboy. So I was thinking about like getting a lucha mask and having fake sideburns, maybe doing a trench coat. Ideas were flowing. Nothing was off the table. But what happened was I went with this concept of the War Devil, seeing as, are you familiar with deep fake, like a deep fake technology? So it's like an automated computer, artificial intelligence that'll take imagery and sounds and stuff from off the internet, from every corner, and it'll combine it and it'll create for you some sort of instant video or song or whatever you ask it to. So it's like all artificial intelligence type stuff. So I was thinking of just all the negative effects of technology and thinking like how it could drive people nuts. And how it's really kind of the worst of society is out there, because with access comes, you're opening the door to demons and monsters, if you want to think about predators and stuff. So the War Devil, that little logo I created, I call it the Phoenix Vulture. I made that logo and started coming up with a lucha character called the War Devil. And after that, it was almost like a Finn Balor, Bray Wyatt type of, really, I was thinking Green Goblin. Like there's a split personality going on to where Hellman Rosecrown is really just like me. He's had a tough time, a rough time of things. He's always been down on his luck, and he's tried to make the best of it, but he's had to fight for everything he's gotten. Mm-hmm. And he's kind of susceptible to heartbreak and to tragedy. And so the War Devil, which it's everywhere, and it's really in all of us. We've all had that hatred and that desire to kill and that vengeance, it's sadly to say that's primal rage, as they say, and it's in there in all of us. So that's just, the War Devil is kind of Hellman Rosecrown's manifestation of that. He's a comic book fan. He's into all that stuff. So he just kind of interpreted some sort of superhero to make up for his misdeeds and all the bad things he's had to do in life. So the name Hellman came from partly Hellboy, but then also Orange is the New Black. They had a guard on there who was Officer Hellman. I'm also sometimes in need of a tan. And so I was like, Hellman's Mayo. That's a good one. Set myself up for a burn. And then Rosecrown's actually a name of someone who actually I knew, who I have a troubled past with on my own. It comes from, like I said, heartbreak and tragedy. So Rosecrown truly is a name I took from my life and repurposed.
Mm-hmm.
So
awesome, man. Yeah. Always like, I was so rich. I'm like, I want to know behind the Hellman Rosecrown. But yeah, man. Again, we've seen you wrestle, a couple times, and now we get to see it again in February 12th, New Super Pro Wrestling. Rich and I, we cannot wait for this match. And before we, we kind of sign off, but if someone's watching this and wants to become a professional wrestler, what advice could you give to someone that wants to pursue in this business?
I feel like I'm so green. Giving them any sort of advice at this point would be almost irresponsible, other than just do it. What are you waiting for? Why are you letting your life pass you by? Sure, you get that job. Sure, you make that money. Sure, you impress your parents or your girlfriend or whatever. But say the girlfriend breaks up with you, whatever. Say parents, they're going to support you anyways. In the end, are you going to be happy with your life when it's said and done? Because it's linear. It ends, and it can end at any given moment. And the worst thing you could do is live with regret. And I lived with regret my entire freaking life until I wrestled. And then I went back to regret. And then I wrestled again. And I haven't lived with regret since. So if you want to wrestle, there's only one way to find out. Is just show up and put in the work.
Awesome. Yeah, I want to applaud to that, because that was awesome, man. Great advice, man. And again, thank you so much for taking time to be in this podcast, man. I'm really happy to have you on.
No, of course. And that is what Santino's, one of their many catchphrases, is not just handing out beatdowns, but they say put in the work, and they truly mean that. If you're going to show up, you better just give it your all, because, what else are you doing?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Definitely. Totally agree. And before we do sign off, we do a segment, Hellman, that is called Top 10 Questions, where we ask 10 questions about yourself. Is that cool? We do a few rapid questions.
Yeah, let's see if I got the answers in the chamber.
Awesome, Rich. Take it away.
Also, start right away. First question, what is your favorite movie of all time?
James and the Giant Peach.
So, favorite TV show of all time?
Oh, there's so many freaking good ones. I'm gonna say Dexter. I love Dexter.
Nice. I think it's making like a return, right?
Yeah, new season or something, mini series or whatever.
Nice. Favorite music artist or band you like to listen to?
Sueno, without a doubt. You probably never heard of him. 6'4" Sueno. He's from Riverside, Michigan. He's a independent like drill rap artist. He's coming up. He just got signed, but yeah, I like to put him as my soundtrack for most of my things. So
nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, look him up.
Favorite video game?
Geez, I tell people, I'm not really into video games that much, but I will be real. It's MLB The Show. I remember. I mean, if I had a system right now, I'd be playing that for hours.
Same, man. I know it's fun. Yeah, it's one of my favorite games.
Fucking love it.
Yeah. Well, for sure. Now you said, I just remember this guy Alex would have like the creative player mode in the season, and he would just be stuck on the PSP for like 10 hours. So like, it's so addicting.
Because there's levels like minor league and then major league. So I was like, I gotta be in the majors. I gotta play. It took me like a month.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was addicted to that game.
Oh man, I know what you mean.
Well,
and I also gotta put Batman Arkham. Can I put Batman Arkham?
Oh yeah.
The whole series. I gotta put that one over too. That one was like, cheers up to that game.
Awesome. Favorite sports team?
Dodgers. I mean, there's a lot. I stick with the LA teams. You know, Yankees are historically good. There's a lot of good teams throughout other sports, but I'm a baseball guy all in all. And yes, LA Dodgers. We got the logo. We got the stadium. We got it all.
Yes, that's a great.
We got our rings now too. We got the rings finally.
Yeah,
because I'm a Dodgers fan too. So you know, we had Rick Ellis on the show, and he's a Padres fan. So that is not. Well,
I spent a lot of time in San Diego. Trust. I keep my mouth shut.
So, what is your favorite meal?
Oh, I sound so basic because I can't even think of nothing good. Immediately you say that, I'm like, damn. Burger, steak. Oh, it's gonna be terrible. Let's say a string cheese, hard-boiled eggs, and a protein drink from the liquor store. That sounds accurate. That's accurate. Gotta keep it real.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah,
because we always get steak or we get like pizza. Like those are like the top two.
The pasta. Yeah.
Yeah, pasta too. Awesome. What is your favorite season? Winter, summer, fall, spring?
Well, winter is traditionally wrestling season, so I love getting up at 6 a.m. and training and the cold and the smell and all that, and I love the smell of the grass and the baseball season and all that. But to be honest, I was going to say anything but this cold. I hate this cold, so it's always been the summer. It's always been summer. I'm born in September, so like I felt like I was still in the summer, but like, yeah, it's always the summer. You could say fall, but not. Sun's out, guns out.
Nice. Outside of wrestling, do you have a hobby you like to do?
Wish. I always wanted to wrestle. My hobby was always wrestling. Like I grew up, just everything was pro wrestling. I'm a big fan of MMA and UFC. I used to follow that for a number of years as well. I wrestled in high school. I mean, I like logos. As weird as it sounds, like I'll look at logos and I'm like, and I'll like break them down, like the letters and like the symbology. So it's hard to say. I guess, I gotta be more well-rounded. Thanks for calling me out.
No.
I like figures. Toys, remember?
Yeah, that works out.
Hey, question, who's your, as we're talking about MMA, who is your favorite MMA fighter?
Oh, God, let me think. Who do I cheer for the hardest? I know I was, second Brock was, I was like, hell yeah. I was big on Chuck Liddell back when it was. Did I have a guy that was my guy? I feel like I had to have a guy, but really, it was Anderson, because throughout his reign, like I had Anderson's back over everybody. And when his leg snapped, my heart kind of snapped.
Who gets wiped?
Yeah, Anderson Silva for sure. Yeah, he was the king.
Do you think he fights Jake Paul?
Do I think what?
Do you think he fights Jake Paul in a boxing match? Because I know there's been some.
Oh, he will. I bet you he will, because he doesn't want to give it up. You know, he's a fighter at heart. He'll box. He'll go back to Taekwondo. He's gonna be going until he can. Yeah.
Especially what he did to like Tito Ortiz in that boxing match. Just,
that's what I mean. I don't think this is the last you've seen him in gloves.
Oh yeah, no, he's GOAT for sure. You know, everything he's done in his career, especially because even his success right now in boxing, it just even adds more. GOAT status. So it's just for sure.
Do you think that Jake Paul fight with Woodley was fixed? I'm hearing people say it was a work. I don't know.
It just he throws I don't know, the way he threw the right hand and then the way Tyron just dropped his hand and just took it. I don't know. I don't know. It just seemed kind of.
I don't even know if we landed on the moon anymore. So I hear.
Yeah.
It just looked telegraphed. It looked like he was like you could see it coming the way he was. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that too. But like, until I step into that ring, into the cage, I feel like it's hard to say anything because he's a big bad dude too, though. They really is, both of them.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
But all right, thanks, man. I appreciate you. I definitely want to come back on this next time. Maybe I'll try to put my mean face on, but you caught me on a good day.
Of course, man. Pleasure's on our side. And again, ladies and gentlemen, February 12th, you're not going to miss it. Hellman Rosecrown will be in action against Tiger Kid versus R.D. Santos. I'm calling it right now. It's gonna be match of the night for sure.
Yeah.
It's gonna be amazing.
Oh.
And again,
all right, well, now I gotta live up to that one. I promise you, it will be. Your money's safe on me.
Of course. And anything you would like to plug in, social media, bookings you have, anything you want to plug in right now?
Yeah, I got bookings coming up for Lucha Pro. I've got bookings coming up for Global Lucha Libre. You really just got to plug into my Instagram channel because I keep everything current there. Definitely Santino Bro shows, whether I'm on them or not, and you're in the LA area, and especially Southgate, you got to come out to the Santino Bro shows because the cards are stacked. So, you might not even catch me on this next event because it's too much talent and they don't know what to do with it. And I can see that. So if you're not winning, then you're not grinning. And, I'll buy a ticket. That's all good.
Awesome. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Again, thank you so much for being on pod. We're so happy that we did this and we had so much fun. So again, thank you.
Thanks, man. I'm gonna eat my string cheese and my hard-boiled eggs.
Awesome. And there you go. That's gonna be it, ladies and gentlemen, here at Championship Online Podcast. We will see you guys next time here.